أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. The first four verses of Surah Fatiha, the translation is: All praise is for Allah Ta'ala, who is the sustainer of all the worlds. He is most gracious, most merciful. He is the King with absolute power of the day of justice. O Allah, you only do we worship, and you only we ask for help. In the first three verses of Surah Fatiha, the message was that we are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our past, present, and also the future. In the past, because we were dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to create us. We had no existence and nobody knew about us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought us into this world. He created us, and He gave us an identity amongst the human beings. So we were dependent on Him in the past for our identity, for our creation, which is the basic thing. And in the present, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sustaining us. So He has fixed the rizq for us. He has fixed many things for us amongst His blessings. And He has made a plan for us of survival in this world and even after we die. So the whole thing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has planned out for us. And in between, in this world, He is taking an examination. But other than that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has everything planned for us, and we are leading the life according to His plan. So we are getting what He has planned for us. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sustaining us. He is our Rabb. So that is happening now in the present. And when that is, we came to know through Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And through Maliki Yawmiddin, we realize that we are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even in the future, which is on the day of judgment, because He is Malik. So He has absolute power over every grain and every drop in His kingdom. And that is true in this world and also in the Akhirah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about the Akhirah because the message is simple, that Akhirah is more important for the human beings than this world. And there we will be really needing the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get across into paradise, inshallah. So inshallah ta'ala, because we can only go to paradise through the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through His mercy, not through our actions. So we will be dependent on the day of judgment on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a lot. So we are dependent on Allah in the past, present, and future. So the message of Iyyaka na'budu is that, O Allah, you only do we worship. So when we are dependent on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the past, present, and future, then the logical conclusion is that we should worship only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in Iyyaka na'budu, Iyyaka is maf'ul, which has been brought before the fi'l to stress the importance of something, and to make something absolutely prominent and exceptional from everything else. So we could have also said na'budu iyyaka. That could also have been repeated, but that would have mean that, oh Allah, we worship you, and maybe we worship someone else as well. But when you say iyyaka na'budu, then that means that we will worship only you. We worship only you, and there is nobody else that we can worship. There is no concept of any worship besides you. So that is meant to specify things to a large degree of importance. So, and what do we mean by ibadah? When we say that someone is doing ibadah, what does that mean? That means that we respect someone so much in our hearts, and we love someone so much in our hearts, that our heart becomes subdued completely through this for this personality, because we love the one whom we worship. We love him so much and we respect him so much that our heart is completely trodden down through his respect and love, and we are completely subdued. And we just the heart can only say that, oh Allah, I am here to follow what you say. So that is ibadat. And now that's something to consider, that when we do ibadat, when we say our prayers or read our Quran, or when we are being nice to somebody, do we really have this feeling in the heart that we are so much subdued by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's grandeur and His respect, that we are always feeling subdued because of His grandeur. So we must inculcate this feeling in our heart so that we can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the best possible manner. So that's the meaning of ibadah. So Iyyaka na'budu means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are the only one whom we are going to worship, whom we are worshipping, and whom we have worshipped, because you have helped us in the past, present, and future. So we will always be worshipping you, whatever the situation. And you are the only one whom we are going to worship. And the other logical conclusion is that if we are worshipping only Allah, then definitely we should ask help only from Allah. And that does not mean that because we are worshipping Allah, so we will ask help from Allah. That is true to some respect, but the real thing is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has those things which we want. Nobody else can give us what we desire in our hearts. We can desire money, and we can desire the worldly blessings, and we can also desire the akhirah. Whatever a human being can desire, that means a good desire, and not a bad desire, but whatever a human being can desire, only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can provide that to him. There is nobody else who can provide it. So it's a logical conclusion that we ask help only from Allah. So that is what we have to inculcate in our lives. Whenever we are faced with some problem, the mind should immediately turn towards Allah, His grandeur, His respect, His greatness, and because we are doing ibadat. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the ibadah and asking help together. So what that implies is that first we are required to do ibadah. If we want help from Allah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allahu Akbar, He is Akbar, He is the greatest. So we should respect Him by worshipping Him. So a worship is a sign of respect. So when we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the message that we are giving is that we are worshipping Allah because we respect Him a lot, we love Him a lot, we are subdued by Him completely. And that is what that is what makes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very happy. And after that, when we ask something, when we make dua, then there's a lot of chance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to accept that, and make us happy because we are doing His ibadah. So that is the purpose of bringing Iyyaka na'budu wa Iyyaka nasta'in after Iyyaka na'budu. So first you give something and then you ask for something. So it's disrespectful that we don't worship Allah and we continuously make dua to Him, oh Allah give me this, oh Allah give me this, but we don't worship Him. So that the equation it's not a logical thing to do. After Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done so much for us, it is not a logical thing to do, and definitely we have to give an account of this on the Day of Judgment. So Imam Ghazali rahimullah has identified 10 types of ibadah. That means the salat, the prayer, zakat, fasting, hajj, recitation of the Holy Quran, and remembering Allah, doing Allah's zikr in every condition, and making efforts for halal rizq, and giving the rights of the neighbors and your other relatives, and telling people to do good and telling them to refrain from doing bad, and following the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So these are the 10 ibadah that have been identified by Imam Ghazali rahimullah. So the message here is that when I say that I do not do shirk, I only worship Allah, it does not mean that I will not do sajda to anybody else. But what it actually means is that the way I love Allah, I will love nobody else. The way I worship Allah, I am not going to worship anybody else. But if I assume that I am going to worship, I am not going to worship anybody like I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The way I respect Allah, I will not respect anybody else. It's going to be lesser. The way I love Allah, I will not love to that degree anybody else except my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the way I fear Allah's punishment, I will not fear anything or anybody as I fear Allah's punishment. And the way I am hopeful of entering paradise from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that hope, I cannot equate that hope with any other hope. So every feeling that we have of dependency, of hope or fear, of worship, of asking help, that has to be at the highest degree for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to a lower degree for others. If it is allowed, if Islam allows it, then we can keep those feelings in our heart to a lower degree for others, but for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala they have to be at the highest level.